I made this decision and regret it 100%. My ex was a great man. I just thought I'd be happier alone after 20 years of marriage, but I was miserable and my daughter was miserable. Biggest mistake ever. First of all, Sarah, thank you for your authentic transparency. It is refreshing, but also extremely sad. I'm sorry that you've gone through that. And
what do you mean, I'm sorry that you had to go through that? This woman left her marriage of 20 years. She destroyed her kid's life, and she's sitting here saying this is something that she regrets doing. And yet this woman is replying to this comment by saying, I'm sorry you went through that. That is absolutely crazy, guys. So many of these stories, there's just absolutely zero accountability for modern women. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, we have an especially ridiculous video clip that we're going to be kicking it off with today. This is a woman who I think is some sort of divorce dating coach. I don't know. These two things don't really make sense to me. How can you be divorced and also give advice to women? But, you know, welcome to 2025 and beyond. So she's replying to a comment here from a woman named Sarah, and Sarah says that she thought she'd be happier alone after 20 years of marriage. So she left her husband, assumedly, but she was miserable and the daughter was also miserable. Biggest mistake ever, but not to worry, guys. We have a superhero over here, okay? An unsung hero who's going to be replying to this comment, and you'll see how ridiculous this woman is. I'm not going to even spoil how funny this is, because this own woman's situation is not even any better. So let's jump into it, guys. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. And I think we also have a second clip today as well. So let's jump in.
if you are considering leaving your partner, or you think that your partner is about to leave you, listen to the words I'm about to say. Also, if you received this from somebody, you need to bookmark, save, like, take notes on everything I'm about to tell you.
Holy hell, she really wants that, you know, those video views. Guys, make sure you bookmark the video. Make sure you save it. Okay, this woman is about to spit some serious knowledge at us, okay? I always find it funny how, like, I would have no problem if these women got on here and actually said things that made sense. Sure. Totally fine. But these people are out here farming views, telling people to like bookmark their videos. And this woman, I'm not going to even spoil it, but she's no better than the woman who left a dude after 20 years anyway. So let's keep going.
I am 5 years post-divorce and I'm remarried. I have a very good relationship with my husband. We have a new daughter together. We're a blended family. I have read over 50-something books on marriage, divorce, attachment theory, all the things, have spent literally tens of thousands of dollars in therapy. And I wish somebody would have sent me a video like this before my divorce.
Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what I didn't want to spoil. This woman, who's now giving advice to Sarah over here, is not only is she divorced, she's also remarried, which begs the question, by the way, why on earth would you marry a divorced woman? This is something I have never understood. Why would you want a woman who's already botched the first marriage? Statistically speaking, guys, women leave marriages 70 to 80% of the time. I believe it goes up to 90% of the time if the woman is college educated. So not only does your marriage have like a 50% chance of like actually lasting anyway, but of the 50% when it doesn't last, odds are the woman initiated it. So, you know, this woman statistically probably botched her first marriage. So she's divorced. Now she's married again. Okay. She has a kid with this new man, but it sounds like she also has another kid with the previous guy because she says new daughter, right? So now she has a kid with this second dude. They're a blended family. And then to top it all off, guys, the cherry on top, this woman has spent thousands of dollars on therapy. I don't think this person is qualified to be giving you advice. Even if this woman says the most rational thing, guys, I don't want to be getting divorce advice from someone like this. Absolutely not. Let's keep going.
And I wish somebody would have sent me a video like this before my divorce. Sarah's comment, I made this decision and regret it 100%. My ex was a great man. I just thought I'd be happier alone after 20 years of marriage, but I was miserable and my daughter was miserable. Biggest mistake ever. First of all, Sarah, thank you for your authentic transparency. It is refreshing, but also extremely sad. I'm sorry that you've gone through that.
This is what I paused it on in the intro of the video, guys. Why are we feeling sorry for this woman who left her marriage of 20 years? You know, and I'll hear people say, oh, well, you know, what if he's a terrible man, Taylor? Okay, what if he's awful? Okay, if this man is so awful and terrible, number one, probably shouldn't have had a child with him to begin with. Number two, probably shouldn't have married him to begin with. Number three, if failing those two first things, if he's really so awful and terrible, she then goes on to stay 20 years after getting married. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but this whole victimhood thing of like women has just got to go, man. Right? We're like, oh, I feel sorry for you, Sarah. I'm so sorry you had to go through that divorce. I'm like, what do you mean? Sarah initiated the divorce, obviously. Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
Refreshing, but also extremely sad. I'm sorry that you've gone through that. And here's what I want to say. No matter the path you take, whether it's staying in the relationship or going through the divorce, both situations take work. Staying in a relationship takes work to have a healthy marriage. And when you decide or whatever to pull the trigger on divorce, you're going to have an entire set of new things to work on.
Yeah, like going out there and maybe getting a job if you can't rob the guy. This is something I also find funny about women who divorce guys is not every time they can walk away with the cash and prizes. Sometimes the women fail at doing it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the prenup holds up. People always say, oh, well, you can just go get married. Just get a prenup. It'll be totally fine. Prenups can be thrown out of court, guys. They are often thrown out of court. This is not going to be a catch-all defense for you. You can still absolutely get screwed over with one. But sometimes, you know, these women walk away and they don't actually get the money, or they don't get the amount of child support that they thought they were going to get. And so, yeah, sometimes they have to go out there and actually, dare I say, get a job, which I find to be very, very funny. That's what I also find funny about the videos, is the women will say, I don't know what my life is going to look like after divorce. And the translation really is, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills without having to actually work myself. So, I mean, it does make sense, though, what this woman is saying. Okay, if you want a successful marriage, you're going to have to work on it. If you want to leave, hey, you might also have to work. Wouldn't that be horrible? So far we are making sense. I will give credit to the woman.
An entire set of new things to work on going through your divorce. And then multiply that by 10 if you have children. So if you're watching this and you think your partner is about to leave you, or you're considering leaving your partner, you have to choose your hard, because both are hard.
Like, we're essentially saying nothing, though, aren't we? Really, like, you would think that this would contain some sort of actual advice, like, hey, maybe you should honor your vows or something, you know, or like some sort of framework to be like, hey, if the dude has crossed this threshold of behavior, then perhaps it's time to leave. I'm talking about like awful things where police are called and stuff like that, you know. But no, we're just like, regardless of which decision you make, it's going to be difficult. It's like, okay, thank you, Aristotle.
And relationships forever are going to take work. You might think that this relationship is too much work for you, and then you move on to somebody else, but surprise, you're going to have to work in that relationship too. So if you haven't even been to therapy with your partner, if you've not picked up a self-help book or listened to podcasts, I'm telling you, before you make the jump to divorce, especially with children, start with that. Start with doing some work, because...
Okay, so this woman's definition of work is picking up a self-help book and listening to podcasts and going to couples therapy. Now, let me just say this, guys. I don't have a very positive view of couples therapy. I think that it's damn well stupid. Absolutely not. I think these are things that certainly, for example, wouldn't really favor men. You're probably just going to go there and be told off about how awful of a husband you are, even if you're putting in effort. I think that couples therapy is absolutely stupid. Moving on also to this woman thinks that work consists of podcasts and self-help books. I have nothing to say at that other than to just sigh, guys, because you already know, like, the self-help books and the podcasts that these women listen to, I guarantee you they are not actually helpful. I can guarantee you that right now. If anything, it's probably going to speed up the process, speed up the time by which she decides to divorce her husband. You know, because a lot of women's self-improvement is really just narcissism. That's what it is. It's like, you deserve better. You're a queen. You know, you have to focus on some sort of like, and it'll basically just talk about things that make absolutely no sense, guys. Like, you have to imagine yourself in this particular way, and then the stars will align, and you've got to get some crystals. It's just stupid as hell. No part of that self-improvement is about, hey, maybe I should take care of my physical health, for example. Maybe I should actually try and be a better wife. Maybe I'm not providing something to the relationship, or whatever the case may be. No, it's usually just narcissism and nonsense.
Especially with children, start with that. Start with doing some work, because when you go through a divorce, it is an entire, like, it takes work to leave somebody. It's not just you sign some papers. When kids are involved, it's not you just sign some papers and you move on. You then have to figure out how to co-parent with somebody that you believe is your enemy. You have to figure out how to pay all of your bills by yourself and be a solo parent.
Oh no. Oh no, guys. So obviously solo parent. So stupid. It's so stupid that this is even done in the first place. But that's what it really comes down to, okay? Is like, how can we take the kid from the dude, but at the same time recognize that we have to pay our own bills? Now, usually women's strategy for this, guys, is what they like to do is they like to have another man lined up ready to pay the bills. That's why you see them instantaneously go and get in a new relationship within 2 weeks and these sorts of things. But of course, a lot of the time, these dudes that they think they've lined up after the relationship don't actually want anything serious with them. This is something very funny to see when women are in a relationship, they're in a marriage, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to wait for my perfect time to leave. I've got, you know, Steven over here who's going to for sure give me a relationship when I leave this one. But sometimes Steven doesn't follow through. Sometimes Steven actually isn't in a relationship. Sometimes he doesn't want to pay her bills. And then, of course, the women run into the problem where raising a kid and trying to do it on child support alone and the assistance oftentimes of their parents probably isn't the easiest thing. And the reason, guys, I don't think this should be easy, by the way. The reason why I don't think this should be easy is because it shouldn't be done in the first place. Raising a kid is not something that should be done by yourself, or it's not something that should be done in some sort of co-parenting thing. I think that it's stupid. Kids are always going to grow up best if they have a good mother and father in the household. But can't have that, guys, can we? Because we have to prioritize our happiness over the child that we brought into the world. Fantastic stuff.
Figure out how to co-parent with somebody that you believe is your enemy. You have to figure out how to pay all of your bills by yourself and be a solo parent. You're going to have to find a new community of friends, because the old community that you were in no longer can relate to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people say before you divorce. I'm telling you, the dynamics change.
Yeah, the dynamics change because people oftentimes realize that you're a psycho, right? Usually what women do, guys, when they leave marriages and things like this is they'll try and do the reputation management ahead of time. So if you're a dude and you've been through a breakup before or a divorce or something like this, you'll probably understand that before women leave you, they will try and make you out a particular way to your family, to your friends, to her family, to her friends, and things like this. But eventually people kind of see through it. And also being a single mother still does have, as much as we support it these days because it's strong and empowering, it still does have a lot of stigma to people who have common sense. You see what I'm saying? And eventually the reputation lies and things like that, oftentimes they fall through. And like a lot of these women cannot keep a friend group to begin with. Also, there's also that problem. So women do kind of screw themselves over here a little bit. It might sound really good playing all these reputation damaging games and lying about your ex-husband and stuff, but eventually the people kind of realize that your ex-husband is normal and that you're crazy and that maybe you shouldn't be a single mother, or maybe you just sabotage the friendship circles yourself, and so they don't want to be friends with you anymore.
You might have somebody who brings you to court every 6 months. We call them frequent filers. You're only going to see your kids half the time, most likely, which also means you're going to be sharing holidays. So you're going to spend some holidays probably alone without your children. You literally are going to miss out on half of your children's lives. Half. It is the most painful thing. It is.
Yeah, but like, think of all the random dudes' bedrooms you can now go in. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of all the clubs you can hit now. Think of all the parties you can go to. You know, if you've saved up a little bit of money from robbing your husband or whatever the case may be, maybe you've been robbing him during the relationship. Maybe you can go traveling, go out there, see some exotic men. Okay, think of all of the happiness that you could have, right? Because, you know, losing access to your children for half the time, perhaps. I mean, hey, what's the big deal? At least you have other random strange men to keep you company, am I right? Because that's what these women oftentimes do, guys. Make no mistake, that's what this is about. A lot of the time, they've been with too many dudes. They cannot pair bond effectively. And so they just want to return to the streets and screw a bunch of other people. You know? That's really what it is. She's my happiness, guys.
So I'm just saying, you have to choose your heart here. Both are extremely hard. It's hard. Even in my new relationship with my husband, it takes work. He and I have gone to, you know, marriage conferences and read so many books together, and we have set time aside every single morning to have coffee and connect with each other. We are constantly sending each other podcasts and books.
Okay, so this woman has essentially roped in a simp. Now, I have nothing against, okay, sharing morning coffee with each other. Sounds wholesome, sure. But sending each other podcasts, reading self-help books. I mean, what was the other one here? Have they also been to therapy as well? They go to marriage conferences. What in the hell is a marriage conference? Why do people always feel the need to just involve so many people in their marriage, guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, first we have to involve the government for whatever reason when you get married to women. That's always exciting. And then you have to involve a therapist, apparently. Then you have to go to conferences. I'm sorry, guys, but I thought that this was supposed to be love between two people. You know what I mean? Strengthen the family unit. Makes sense to me, okay? If you're a religious person, maybe it's also a religious practice to you very specifically. Cool. What in the hell are marriage conferences, and why are podcasts? And I don't trust this, guys. I really don't. I think all of this is complete nonsense. I think this woman's brainwashed as hell. I think she's found herself a nice simp because, as far as I understand, she would have also been a single mother. So this dude who married her, not only did he marry, in all likelihood, a single mother, but I think he did also marry a divorced woman. So divorced single mother who's on the podcast and marriage conferences boat. I don't know about that one, my man. This guy probably needs a little bit more self-respect.
We have set time aside every single morning to have coffee and connect with each other. We are constantly sending each other podcasts and books, and because he's gone through divorce, I've gone through divorce, we have agreed we are never going to go through that pain again.
Oh my goodness. Why? You would think that this guy would learn the first time not to marry, you know what I mean?
But we also, some of that pain that comes with divorce is watching your children suffer, and we don't ever want our kids to experience anything remotely close to that ever again. Now, I have to say, this does not apply to all situations. There are some situations with abuse and things like that where, yes, you need to leave. I am not talking to those situations. I'm talking to the people who they just don't get along, or they don't like their spouse or whatever, and they're like, man, I could probably be happier somewhere else. One of the comments that was on this video, he said something about how it was the best decision for him, but the worst decision for his kids. And man, I was like, yes, I resonate with that. Because I can find happiness and peace and joy and all of that, but the children, oh, it's devastating.
I think these women have a really, like, guys, I'm not married. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But my perspective on marriage in particular, especially if you have children, if you have a child, okay, or if you get into a marriage, you do the vows, I'm sorry, but from that point forward, my view of it is it's not about your happiness anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally have a child. That person, that little person, is your responsibility, okay? This outranks your happiness. This outranks your peace and your joy, because I guarantee you, you're probably not going to find it peaceful or joyful to wake up at 4 a.m. when your child is absolutely losing it. Okay, you've got a baby or something like this. I mean, that's going to affect your joy, I'm sure. But this is something that you signed up for. You know what I'm saying? But these women will actively ruin they'll ruin their marriages of 20 years because they just want to, they need that happiness and that peace and that joy. I'm sorry, but when were marriages about these things in the first place? I don't understand. Marriage is a duty, right? You literally get sworn into it with vows, and these people are like, you know what? I'm just not happy today. I need to jump back on, like, I don't know, whatever dating application. Okay, I need to go travel and see some men because this is, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's not what this is about, man.
And peace and joy and all of that. But the children, oh, it's devastating. So choose your hard. My recommendation, and take it or leave it, is to at least try the hard first before you break your family on purpose.
Okay, we were almost there. No, it's put in the hard work. Stay in there because that's what you chose to sign up for, unless, of course, you have some very dangerous things going on. You know, put in the hard work and continue to put in the hard work. Don't break your family on purpose. We were very close to saying something sensible, but this woman's like, you know what? At least consider trying to hold it together before you break apart your family on purpose. I mean, we were close, guys. I actually don't think we have this video lined up here. This might be separate for another episode, guys. This is a 42-year-old single mother. I don't really know if I have the brain power to get into this one, so we might just leave it for the time being. But let me know down in the comments box below, guys. What do you think about these people who decide to leave their marriages of 20 plus years for their happiness and decide to tear apart their families? Interested to see what you guys have to think. What do you think about this woman's addiction to spending thousands of dollars on therapy and whatever the hell marriage conferences are? Let me know down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and if you enjoy suffering for whatever reason, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.